Hey, this is Andy Jenkins, and after a brief delay, well, actually it's more than a brief, we're back with the Oily App Plus podcast. This week I want to do something that, we really don't do this kind of stuff a whole lot, but this is, it's just one of those things that I thought about it and then discussed it with the team, and we all agreed, hey, why not? Just toss it out there. Let's discuss some of the things that we learned from the latest project that we did, which was a almost New Year's Day, but not quite. I'll circle back to that in a moment. Online virtual event where we had people from all over the U.S., all throughout Team Young Living, really involved, not only watching, but also participating. We called the event Forward because we really created the event to help people lean hard into the new year, move from beyond last year. Not that last year was all bad. Face it, we're doing this right on the heels of 2020. 2020 was a hard year on so many levels for so many people. At the same time, there were some incredible lessons that we all picked up, that we all learned. And at each season, it's always true, no matter how bad it is, no matter how great it is, there are always things that you want to hold on to and lean forward with those, carrying them into the next season. There are also things, again, no matter how bad the season was or how wonderful it was, that you always reflect upon and you think those things should probably just stay behind. And so the entire crux of this event was to really step away from just doing product knowledge, which we do a lot of. In fact, in Oily App Plus, there are currently, I believe it's 48 courses as of the recording of this podcast, all about the products. But we wanted to step away from that just for a single event and really talk about life. And so that's what Forward was. In fact, I put the link in the show notes below where you can learn more about it, because even though the live event has passed, and even though you can't join the live fiasco, you can go catch the rewind. You can catch the replay. Let me give you some background on all of this and how we even ended up there, because that really has something to do with, I've got 5 lessons for you that we learned just looking back. Here's the background. Back in late 2019, so it was the week after Christmas, we mapped out the online courses that we wanted to release throughout the entire 2020. So every month in Oily App Plus, that's our online courses. So we've got the smartphone app that's available on iOS. It's available on Android. We do a plug for that every single time we do a podcast. So you can go back and listen to the first 5 minutes of the last podcast. I guarantee you listen to the first 2 to 3 minutes of the next one. I'll give you the rundown on what the app does. But Oily App Plus, it is our online courses where every month we release a new one to provide people with information via video, generally 4 to 5 videos per course related to health and wellness. We release that on the first of every month. And then in the middle of the month, we drop a new course, an additional offering by Dr. Jim Bob, generally on something that really takes a deeper dive. Now, sometimes he's involved at the beginning of the month also, but really the middle of the month, that's where it's just mano a mano. He'll be in your living room on your phone. You can log in with Oily App Plus from all of your devices, wherever you are, using your email address and the password you set up on our website. When you jump in, you get access to those new courses every month, plus the growing resource center, the library of all past releases. So since you have access to everything, and since there is no contract, you join. You can unjoin anytime, then you can rejoin back if you want. We really refer to it as the Netflix of essential oils. Now, due to some decisions Netflix made back in 2020, and depending on where you are on those decisions, I don't know if that's a good moniker or not, but that's kind of what we've done before. You can sign up, oilyapp.com/plus, all lowercase, link down in the show notes. Anyway, when we mapped it out, we decided that Jim Bob was going to release a new course on a different body system every single month throughout 2020. So that meant middle of the month, you get to learn about the musculoskeletal system, or the digestive system, or the immune system, or the reproductive system, or you go through the list. Depending on how you count them, there's 10 to 12 body systems. Some people join certain parts together, but that's kind of the consensus. It's going to release that. And then I plan to craft those concepts because I'm editing his courses and designing some graphics to go with them and really breaking apart, an hour conversation that he does into 4 to 5 videos. I'm planning to get those concepts, write the rough draft for a book. Jim Bob's going to edit it with me. We're going to tag team on it like we've done with the Thieves book and the 101 book, the Essential Oils 101 book. And then we're going to do a live event in the fall, early fall, right after kids are back to school. We're going to do this live event. Can't tell you where it was going to be because we may circle back. And in fact, you know how that story ended. Here's what you don't know is we're about to ink the contract. Ernie and I are going back and forth via email, looking at the details, going back and forth via text message, with just kind of the ideas of it. We're about to ink the contract, and then COVID locks everything down. Not making a stance on whether it's a pandemic or scamdemic or anything like that. It's just the reality is things got locked down. That meant no live event. So I'm still working on it, kind of behind the scenes. Jim Bob's still working on it and posting the courses. But we're not going to be able to release, really. And by the way, we were going to shoot live film at this event. So the idea was to have Jim Bob doing the main sessions. I'm going to host, MC. We're going to have 15 plus other diamond speakers. Ernie's going to share. We're going to have like a special night, the night before the event, just for Oily App Plus members where you guys could come hang out. And we would have some special leadership sessions by some Royal Crown Diamonds. I mean, we had it lined up, queued up, teed up, ready to go. COVID, wham, don't ink the contract. So, we eventually, things opened up. We thought we might do it. We're about to ink the contract again. And then, the story. That's about when all of the marches started happening. BLM takes it to the streets. Let's be honest, there's a lot of looting, a lot of burning things down, not taking a political stance on it. That's just what happened. And I remember thinking, COVID's about to uptick, or at least they're going to say it's going to uptick because all this stuff. Anyway, things shut back down. We don't sign the contract for the second time. So eventually, the calendar keeps pushing. You can't just plan a live event overnight. We had enough time when we were looking early spring to do this in the fall. But by the time you kind of stroke through the summer, midway through the summer, there is not enough time to pull that thing off. So we just decided, let's just work on the notes for the book in the background. Let's just craft the graphics that we would use. Let's just keep putting all the stuff together, and we'll save the content for what was going to be the body conference. Let's just save it all, and we'll do a virtual event of some other kind. We'll do it around the new year. And we'll do the live event for the body conference. We'll do that off at some point in the future where it was going to be incredible. Jim Bob was going to talk about health and wellness. He's going to talk about how your body's supposed to work, what happens when a system malfunctions, what that's really showing you, why you shouldn't cover over the system. You should kind of lean into it and see what it is signaling to you to do. It was going to be amazing. He teaches all of those things about the body in such a succinct, easy to understand, takes these deep, deep, rich truths and helps you just apply them in a way that it absolutely just makes common sense. So we decided, hold that content, release it live in the future. So that's just kind of a heads up. We don't have a contract inked as of right now, but at some point, we'll probably roll back and do it live. Okay, hold that idea, go to this thought. Some more background. A few years ago, I used to co-lead these events called The Advance. It was for men. In fact, if you go to the website, eatsleepadvance.com, that's a domain that I have where we posted everything. You can get any of the event information from past events where we recorded some of them in video, where we did some bonus content, where there's some audios that I recorded via podcast. You can get all that. It's totally free. You can get the audiobook over there. Totally free. Go grab it on that website. And then there's information about some new planners that I'll tell you about. Now, those events began originally to teach men about Young Living, about the products, about the business plan, the compensation structure. They quickly morphed to talk more and more about life and life planning. Now, along the route of all of that, I was creating workbooks for each event, slightly different, but definitely building on previous content, so not writing up from scratch. Eventually, I penned this. It's about 500 pages book, paperback. I'm in the process of re-editing it right now to release in the next month or two. That had all of the information, all of the illustrations, some of the content that really either didn't make it into the events because it's just a one-weekend event, or just a small piece made it. Just a tiny, sliver of what I was able to flesh out in greater detail in the book made it. That book, it's 500 pages. I wouldn't think that that's really overwhelming. It sounds like it because it seems like it would be a freaking dictionary. But there are so many pictures in that book and so much white space in the book that it reads really quick. And in part of the editing process, it's going to get chopped into 5 books because that's the content where we teach about the ladder. So step 1, what? Step 2, how? 3, why? 4, who? 5, you. Don't worry if you don't remember all that. It's just we can break it down in bite-sized chunks. So at some point during those events, I created this paperback planner, like a quarterly undated planner. Had this dream of eventually putting it in a hardback moleskin form, with the pocket in the back, pin and loop, rubber band enclosure, ribbons, all that kind of stuff, that would really make it to where it would be a tool that guys and gals, anybody, could use to live out the concepts that we taught at the advance. There just never really seemed to be the right time and release place and protocol for that. And so just kind of punted it, but kept it in the back of my mind as a dream of something that one day, hey, this is a project that we'll do. So I picked it back up. Late fall 2020, I began crafting that resource from paperback into hardback. Did a little bit of editing with it, a little bit of change up, a little bit of application that I had learned from drafting and redrafting, writing and rewriting the advanced material, and got with the Oily App team. We decided to do this. Number 1, release that planner with the new year, not as a hard launch, just really kind of as a soft, hey, here it is, at an online live event. Now, you remember, if you look at our website, if you go to oilyappshop.com, we have a planner. We have one that Gladys and Jocelyn, the Spanish translators, created for us. That's amazing. It just seems more geared towards women, but it's great. So we were just going to kind of release this and float it out there. Oh, hey, here's another thing we have, and that tends to be how we release most of our books. Although in the future, some of that will change. Number 2, we were going to shoot some video resources along with that planner to show people how to really use it, dive into it, some of those concepts, and then we would show some of those videos, not all, but some at the live event that would be online, and then we would bring 15 plus other Diamond Plus leaders. I think we had maybe 4 Royal Crown Diamonds, 2 Crown Diamonds, the rest Diamond, incredible rank. All of them from all around Team YL into that mix for that live online event where we would do the soft launch. And we would really give them the opportunity to talk about work-life balance, about moving forward in several key areas of life, your fitness, your finance, your family, your faith, your career, what you do, the purpose that you have, all of these. We would really let them teach and help everybody move ahead. And that's how we really came up with the idea of Forward. Because again, like the advanced material, and that name's already taken, right? There's 2 books I have with that similar name, a book and a workbook. There's a planner that's named after that. So we really decided to name it Forward because, again, this resource was designed to encourage, equip, empower people to move ahead with the new season in every area of life. Here's what I learned from that. A couple things. Number 1, and this isn't really in any order of importance. It's just what it is. Number 1 is it's okay to change the deadline on a dream. Now think back. Jim Bob's material and the live event that was going to be based around it, the body conference, it's all based on the body workshop that we were creating the online resources for, release of that book. All the material that Jim Bob has been punted off into the future. At some point, it will eventually happen. the planner that I have and some of the advanced resources. I'd worked on those for 5 years. It was about 3 years ago that they really started shaping up more and more. But eventually, I stopped participating in those events. Not by my choice. It just happened, and it seemed like these resources will forever be in the closet. Still a dream, but the deadline, it just got delayed and then re-released. Another example is originally we planned to do forward the online event. Some of you saw this. You actually signed up for January the 1st. We had to push because of some planning mistakes and some technology issues that we bumped into. We had to push that thing off to the 8th. Here's my point. No effort of something that you feel called to do that is part of your purpose is ever wasted. It might not work out on the timeline that you originally thought, but somehow in the economy of the supernatural, there's this verse in Proverbs that proves true over and over and over that your gifts always make room for you. So the hope may be deferred, which can make your heart feel sick, right? But that desire eventually, as Proverbs says too, usually will be fulfilled. Here's lesson number 2 we learned is you can do a whole lot more with more people. Now, for sure, when you get more people involved, the challenges increase exponentially because the greatest thing in life is people, and the most challenging thing in life is also people. But in this event, we had 15 plus Diamond Plus leaders who spoke for us on video. They were surprisingly easy to get in touch with. They were quick to respond. They added immense, incredible value to the event. They made it exponentially better. We were floored many times, frankly, just watching what they produced and sent to us, even before stringing the entire thing together. The content that they communicated to us. And none of them were teaching point by point by point. They were all leaning off some expertise that they've gleaned from the trenches of life. So it wasn't like, hey, we want you to teach this topic on, give them a topic. They spoke from their heart and practical experience, and that is way different. And the event, it was exponentially better. We got a tech guy to help that's a guy I've known for years. We were able to lean across the breadth of a team. It was better because, frankly, lesson number 2, you can do more with more people, as long as, I would say maybe a footnote, they're the right people. Lesson number 3 is this: done imperfectly is better than not done perfectly. Okay, that sounds confusing, but a lot of people put off projects because they can't do them perfectly. Here's what I've learned is once you do something, you can always go back and do it and refine it and shape it again, even though simultaneously you should always do something to the best of your ability. Okay, if something is worth doing, it's worth doing right the first time. Yet you can have this fear of, hey, if I keep practicing, at some point I'll be able to do it better. Or when I have more experience, I'll be able to do this more thoroughly. And so you can always postpone and punt and delay, and that can become an excuse for never performing. I know that a lot of that information that I just gave you from lesson number 3 sounds contradictory. Here's what I learned, though. We went in there, we shot the event. I shot the videos on the advanced planner, link down in the show notes to all that. We're going to make that available to you, that video resource. And we shot it, and then there was some static in the line. And when it got released, we found out. And I remember stepping away from it, and the tech guy, his name's Chris. He's got a great company here locally. He said, man, why don't you come back into the studio and reshoot all of that after the live event, and I'll edit it this time, because I didn't have time to edit it. I edited the first batch, but I didn't have time to do it again. He goes, I'll do it. He goes, I think you can probably communicate it clearer. Like the first run is great, but I've heard you speak. I think you can do it better. And I also know that I can get better sound and better video quality out of this now that I see it all. And so we thought about it, and it was like, why wouldn't you do that? right? So Monday after the event, I went back in the studio 4 hours and just started, boom, teaching just me to a camera standing right there with Chris in the room, everything lit, everything ready to go. And simultaneously, I'm grateful we didn't wait to get that level of expertise, because I know the next time we do another event like this, and we're going to do one in May, I know the next time we do it, it's going to be even better. Yet we did it the best we could the first time, yet you can still make it better. I hope you see what I'm saying. Like, you don't want to just shortcut anything. Simultaneously, you got to find the sweet spot of not waiting until you can execute it as good as you'll ever be able to do it, because you're in this phase of constant improvement and ongoing getting better at things. So done imperfectly is better than not done perfectly. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me give you lesson number 4 or 5. Here it is. Plan ahead and then give yourself more time than you ever originally planned when you plan ahead. During the course of this event, we took a lot of notes about execution. Even though we shoot new events every single month, there are 40-something courses in OilyApp Plus now. So shooting a video class is not a stranger or odd thing to us. I've already have 12 courses shot that we're going to release over 2021. Those are already in the can. So it's not a new task to us. We know how to do it, but going at this level and then shooting a big live event and having a bunch of it live, some of it pre-recorded, dropping in other people, all of those, man, having hundreds of people, at some point we hope to have thousands online at the same time, there's just things that we picked up. We should have marketed the thing sooner. We should have gotten our Diamond Plus leaders on board earlier. Now, they were quick, hasty. They were rapid, but we should have reached out to them a long time before we did. We're reaching out to them now about the next event. We should have reached out to other influencers and networkers who just wanted to know about the event and share it with their team members and share it with their friends. And we should have communicated with them sooner. The event worked. The event worked well. And at the same time, I think a longer lead time, we would have benefited from that. And as a result, the content that we were able to create would have benefited immensely. The second time I went back in to shoot the live or the pre-recorded segments that I did about the planner, some of those were released during Forward. Some of those are released when you buy one planner. Now we give you a free audio book that you can follow along with to expose you to all the concepts that we teach in that planner. And when you buy 4, it's not like a year subscription. It's a quarterly planner. We mail you all 4 at one shot. So where you got it, you can start planning, working out. We release the video course to you that I shot. The second time I did it, I did a better job. Back to lesson number 3 that we just talked about. And part of that is because I think number 4 here, plan ahead and give yourself more time than you originally planned. The time and the space in which you're proactively working on something, your mind just kicks into this sweet spot where it starts making connections for you mentally that you never even thought of, that you're not even trying to make. Like somehow there's just this cooking process and this maturity that occurs when you're not being hasty in the moment, when you're moving forward on a project and there is margin and there is space. And I think that is lesson number 4. Plan ahead, but then give yourself a little bit of extra time, because even though we're in an Instapot world, microwave culture, man, the best things still, it's just like good old home cooking. The best things still slow cook. Final lesson, and this is the shortest of all, and then I'm going to sign off, is the event worked well, and we learned that, lesson 5, experience is a good teacher. And it is. We've known that. You've known that. There is a wisdom that going around the sun a few times really gifts you that you can't acquire any other way. Experience is a good teacher, but evaluated experience is a great teacher. Think about that. And that's one of the things we have in the planner is on that second page there, that you flip the page, there's this daily review. And I really have been learning from that, things I'm grateful for today are, and we fill it in, and things I could have done better today, an area I could have improved. You fill it in. What didn't get done today that must be completed tomorrow? And then you tune into your spouse, your significant other, and really start connecting up with that significant relationship in your life. The most other significant one that you have, probably outside of your faith walk. And then where did I add value today? And then you fill those things in. I've learned that kind of on the day-to-day run. I'm also learning that on big projects. It's so often we get a project done, we move on. We write a book, we move on. We shoot a video course, we move on. But with this, we really learned, in part because we're leaning forward now to another event that we'll announce here in the next couple weeks, maybe the next month, that'll be in May. I'm excited about this. It's going to be about emotional health, soul health, tinkering around with the idea of soul wholeness. Like we talk about physical health and wholeness, spiritual health and wholeness, emotional health and wholeness, soul wholeness. We're looking at soul wholeness maybe as the working title of that. Again, experience is a good teacher. Evaluated experience is a great teacher. So we're wanting to move forward and do more things, and learning that, hey, the best way to do that is look back, not look back to live there, but look back so the mistakes of the past don't bite you again, so that the great things of the past, you can be certain that you repeat those things over and over and over again, because experience is a good teacher. Evaluated experience is a great teacher. All right, thanks for hopping on with me. I would love for you to do this. Go to the links in the show notes. I've got a free planner, the one I've been talking about right there. You can download the PDF absolutely free. You could print that out. You'll have all the front matter. You'll have the month at a glance month review. You'll have the week ahead, the entire week, the week review. All that's explained in detail about why we have those parts there. It's all the content literally that's in the planner. You could print that off, put it in a 3-ring binder or one of those great little artsy looking things they have at Office Depot and in Staples. I think the name of them is Tool, TUL is what Office Depot's brand is, where you pull the pages out, you put them back in, you pull them out, you can put them back in, move them around. You could print the planner and use it absolutely free if you had your own binding system. The reason we do that is because I think you could buy the hardback from us cheaper than you could just go buy all those other things. But if all those other things, like the spiral bound or the cool way to keep all that held together, if all those are resources you already have or resources you prefer, then we just want you to have the tools. We believe in you. We believe you are created for a life that is extraordinary. So don't settle for ordinary. We believe that there is supernatural power ready to flow through you. So even though we're here in the natural world, don't settle for what's natural or normal. You are a gift to the world. And if we can best tool you to manage and steward the life that you've been given, we want to do that. We believe in you. Go to the link, oilapp.com/free planner PDF. I put the link in the show notes because at any given point, if you go to the homepage, depending on when you're listening to this talk, that resource may not be on the homepage anymore, but the link in the show notes will, I guarantee you, always work. That's it. I'm going to sign off. Next week, I'll be back on the podcast with my friend Johnny Williams. We'll be talking about physical health. We'll pick right back up with that fitness series. I'll tell you this, my prayer for you as I sign off my personal podcast is that the Lord would bless you, He'd keep you, be gracious to you, make His face of favor shine upon you, that as you start navigating through a new year, a new season, that you would be flooded with a new hope of all of the, even amidst the chaos that right now we seem to be navigating politically, that you would see the possibilities for living out the destiny and purpose that is gifted to you. You were created for a time such as this. That's just straight Old Testament. And we encourage, equip, and empower you to find and walk in that purpose. Have an amazing week. I'll talk to you again soon.